Hey, what's up, guys? It's Carlos here. Let's talk, the voice of El Paso. So, let's talk about it. Last night's fight, Bivol versus Beterbiev. Before we get into that, let's talk about this guy, Ben Whitaker. A lot of people on here and other social media sites have been really promoting this guy as the next Nassim. What we learned yesterday is he's not Nassim. He's not even in the same country code. Where was his showboating? Where was his swag? Where was his energy? No, he had none of those things. I'm gonna tell you why. Because he fought a journeyman with a good record. Cut and dry. He fought a journeyman with a good record, and it proved that he's not who everybody says he is. He didn't have no slick movement. He didn't have no very fast hand speed. At moments he did, but overall he did not. When he started to get tired and he realized he couldn't handle dude, what did he do? He threw himself over the ropes and got injured, quote unquote. So for those of you that have been, and there's a few content creators on here, you've been sitting on the dude's fucking nutsack, riding him. So, what do we learn about Beterbiev? When things get tough, he's gonna get injured. Gutless, heartless, disgusting. Can't have it. Just can't have it. Not a fan of him when he was beating up on tomato cans and sofas. Not a fan of him today. He looked slow. He looked like he didn't have no power. I don't think he has power anyway, but he really looked like he didn't have no power. And he looked like his game plan was weak, and other dude just stuck it to him. So what they do? He went over the edge, and he injured his leg. Played a good, dude should get an Oscar for that acting job. But whatever. Let's get on to the Beterbiev and Bivol fight. Bivol started off strong, and he started off, using lateral movements, jabbing a lot, winning the exchanges, not really controlling the ring in the sense that he was pushing and circling, but he was definitely well, let me rephrase that. He wasn't controlling the ring in the sense that he was in the middle of the ring, forcing Beterbiev to do a lot of movement. On the contrary, he himself was doing a lot of movement, but in his own right, that is a way of controlling the ring. Thing with that was when Beterbiev did have his moments in those early rounds where he would tag him, he'd touch the body, touch the head, go upstairs, tag him up, slow him down. And it showed. It showed in the later rounds. He started to get tired. Then Beterbiev would win the rounds. I wouldn't say necessarily because his punches were more effective and more damaging. He was just busier. And I think that's what the judges were looking at. At first, when I first saw the fight, I was like, wow, I really thought Beterbiev should have gotten the victory. Bivol, excuse me. I thought Bivol should have gotten the victory. I was like, wow, Bivol should have gotten it. And then I was like, well, let me go back and watch it again. So I watched it a second time. I watched highlights and stuff, and I was like, no, you know what? They got it right. Beterbiev was definitely the bigger puncher. We saw all the damage on his face. Bivol says it's from his own glove hitting him. Maybe. A lot of shots did come in. I did notice that, Beterbiev did target certain locations. Maybe he found a weakness in the game and was just cracking it. I definitely think they should run it back. They definitely need to run it back one more time. I would love to see that. I think it'll be much more action-packed. I definitely think that Bivol was very cautious in what he did. And I think Beterbiev was worried that he would get tagged up and lose points because he understood Bivol's a point scorer as opposed to a knockout artist. And Bivol knows that Beterbiev is a knockout artist as opposed to a point scorer. So both dudes were probably playing it really cautious. So one wouldn't give up the other. In the end though, what did we get? We got a very cautious fight. We got a lot of posturing, we got a lot of chasing. Beterbiev chose to be the hunter again. And in the final rounds, he really made sure that everybody understood that he was the guy. You know, I saw an interview later on, I think this earlier today, Bivol talking about Canelo's power compared to Beterbiev's power. And he said, essentially, Canelo would tap, tap, tap so he could hit hard once or twice, as opposed to Beterbiev, who didn't punch quite as much, but the punches just were bigger and heavier. We could see that from damage on his face. I mean, the entire left eyeball was completely swollen and purple. 5 minutes after the fight ended, that thing was huge from the swelling, which is a testament to Beterbiev's power. What do you do though? What could he have done different? I don't know. He could have probably thrown more punches and tried to sit there and keep Beterbiev off of him. The problem with that though is, how long can you keep that up? Especially to a guy that's relentless like Beterbiev. So I don't know if Bivol was physically prepared to take on that kind of a fight, in the sense that he could keep Beterbiev off of him. Maybe this was predetermined just by the styles that they fight. I don't know. You know, when he fought Canelo, he controlled Canelo for a majority of the fight. I think he won maybe 3 rounds. When he fought Zurdo, he owned Zurdo. Zurdo didn't have an answer for anything. But now he fought a guy that's just an adamant chaser. He's like Michael Myers. You can't really hurt him too much. He's just going to beat you into submission, and that's what he did. He cut the ring off very well. You know, one thing I am going to say that that's one thing that Beterbiev did surprise me on, is his ability to cut the ring off. He doesn't move around a whole lot, which was really surprising to me. All of a sudden, it's like, boom, Beterbiev's in front of him, landing a combination or two. Boom, he's punching and he's moving him back, and I'm like, what? But here he is, tagging him up, right? Tagging him up. I was like, okay, well, you know, it is what it is, right? So definitely, I thought that was pretty impressive. Maybe I've never watched him closely enough. Maybe I've always assumed he was weak with his feet, but he did do really well on that. And you could just see he wasn't going to be told no. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. I know this one's kind of hard to gauge just because it wasn't in action, but I don't know. It was different for me. And this fight was vastly different for me watching it. I may have to check it out again. I may even revise what I say about this fight, just because if I watch it a second and third time, I might have a different perspective on what happened during the fight. The other fights were good. Weren't bad. There was, I think, 1 knockout. Yeah, so as always, this is Carlos and Let's Talk, the voice of El Paso. Talk to me and I'll talk back. Peace.